What's up, guys? Welcome to mine and Steve Cook's YouTube channel. You're joining me for part 2 of our much anticipated bicep and tricep workout.
Bicep and tricep.
It's been a long time coming. We're here at, what other place would we do it at? The Mecca.
The one and only
Gold Gym in Venice, California. This is where, we first met, I think.
Yeah.
Expos, we'd seen
the
each other
first
around.
expo was ever the LA Fitness Expo.
Yeah, about 5 years ago.
Yep, 5 years ago. I was just signed with Optimum, and I was talking to Rob, and I just got off stage, and no joke, he looked at my arms and said, "You're making me want to go train arms." And I was just like, hell yeah. Rob Richards just told me I'm making him want to go train arms. So today, 5 years later, we're training arms. It just took 5 years.
So just to recap, first of all, subscribe so you can check out all the other videos that we've got coming up and basically never miss any of our videos. But part 1, we checked in on tricep. We started off, so just to recap, and you can watch the full video over on Steve's channel. We started with, it was a warm-up. We did the skull crushers, or a variation of that. We supersetted with some close grip presses. From there, we moved on to a cable exercise with 3 different attachments or hand positions. We did, I guess, like a V-bar push down, wide grip straight bar, and then underhand
reverse
for that kind of long tricep head. And we came back out here, we did some overhead seated extensions, supersetted with some bench dips.
Absolutely, just smashed, annihilated the triceps. We took about 5 minutes, recouped, got some water, and then on to biceps.
So yeah, we started with triceps because, really they make up about 3/5 of the arm, and your arm's a perfect example of that with the mass of the tricep. So yeah, we were talking about the strengths of our physiques. They're similar on one hand, but they're also very different.
Yeah,
and that's apparent in how we train. You'll see within this video and the exercises, both on the strength, our form and technique. Even though they're both good, they do vary. And you've definitely got that mass. You've got the size. I feel my strength is more on the conditioning for my body type. And I know when you bring your conditioning in, it's second to none. But I know you tend to allow yourself to put on a little bit more of that muscle mass.
That's what I did this off season for sure.
I know people are going to be asking. They're going to be typing on the comments, how tall is Steve? How heavy is Steve? And how short is Rob? So let's get that out of the way first. How tall are you?
6'1". Right now, I'm always 6'1". Right now, I'm weighing just under 215. So this is about as big as I get. And again, took this year pretty much off from competing. Haven't gotten on stage since last Olympia. We're here almost a year later. Really focused a lot more on strength movements. Got up to 225. And then now I'm sitting at about 215, and I'll get down to 210, 208 probably will be the lowest I'll get down to for some shoots.
So that just goes to show the difference in builds and physiques. So 6'1".
6'1".
I'm 5'10" on a good day, so 3-inch height difference. And right now I'm 178.
Gotcha.
You're like a 45-pound plate heavier than me.
When you put it like that.
Yeah, of like muscle. All right, first exercise. This is one that you kind of, I've seen you do a lot, so this is your exercise. Why don't you tell us what we did there?
This is one that I first did about 2 years ago, actually in this gym with Charles Glass, and it's a drag curl on the Smith machine. So that Smith machine keeps you in line, because it's not a free weight necessarily. We're using plates. It's plate loaded, but it's not a free weight. It's fixed. So again, you're keeping it right next to your body, and you'll see in the video, it's right next to your body as we squeeze up. We're keeping the elbows behind the midline. So the elbows are almost behind the back. And what that does is really stress the long head of the biceps. So obviously biceps meaning too, that you have the
outer portion, yeah.
Exactly, the outer portion of the bicep. And again, you're squeezing at the top, about a half-second squeeze. And this one, the pain that you feel on that 13th, 14th, 15th rep isn't, you can't really duplicate that in any other bicep exercise for the long head.
The weight that we were doing. Normally, if we do a free weight bar curl, we're looking at maybe 70, 80, even 100 pounds.
Right.
Elbows almost forwards a little bit. We're squeezing up at the top. This is literally, we're not bringing that bar up. It's like you said, fixed. Elbows back up that way. We have the weight on, I want to say like 30 pounds.
Yeah, it wasn't much.
It was way below half of what we might normally do.
Especially because it's on the Smith machine. Smith machine.
Counterbalanced, it has no weight mass like the Olympic bar. But talk about a warm-up. And that's such a key point, I think, in having a good, well-rounded arm workout is you've got to really well and truly warm up the tricep for tricep workout and the bicep for bicep workout.
Yep.
It doesn't matter if you've done triceps hard, you still can't jump into heavy bar curls and just kind of hit the ground running. If it's a new muscle group, sure, it may have been worked and warmed up, but you've got to really warm it up with the movement that you're going to be doing for the rest of that workout. 100%.
And even though it was hot in the gym, we took the time. We went super light on that first set and really just got a feel for the exercise. And if for no other reason other than just getting a feel, that's why you want to warm up too. If you jump into heavyweight, besides the fact you're more likely to get injured, you're not able to feel what that exercise with those sets and reps should really feel like. So going lighter, really squeezing, getting that mind-muscle connection, and then from there, adding on weight.
You mentioned about the mind-muscle. For that exercise for me, it was like programming my mind, but the rest of the workout is all about arms. Because we're all about the triceps in part one. All of those exercises, the supersets, the drop sets, the dips, the body weighted stuff. I mean, everything we're thinking about the tricep, extending, squeezing. It's a different mindset for biceps.
Definitely.
So it's great to be able to warm up and just take some time to really think about that muscle group and to prepare ourselves for the workout ahead.
Yeah, typically, now I will sometimes I will do a bicep tricep, but I really feel like I get the best bang for my buck when I really smash triceps and then smash biceps. A lot of times if I am under a time constraint, I will do a superset of bicep and tricep, but I've always felt like my best arm workouts come when I smash triceps and then smash biceps, really give them their due diligence. So our second exercise after doing the Smith machine drag curl was one Rob,
preacher curls.
The preacher curl.
So with biceps, I love alternating between the long head and the short head, and I think certainly beginners, I want to say, we look at biceps as it's one muscle and that's how you train arms. Maybe do some dumbbells, maybe do a barbell, that's the arm workout.
Right.
The more progressive, advanced you get into, obviously you make gains as a beginner within the first 6 months to a year, and then it's where do you go from there? And it's doing the, like you said, the due diligence on actually learning about the anatomical structure of the body, learning about the muscle heads, the insertion, the origin. And with biceps, you've got the long head, that kind of on the outside portion, and then the short head, which is apparent on the peak.
Rob's he's in an anatomy chart right now. You can see actually the split between the long head and the short head there. So, again, preacher curls, more short head, keeping those elbows
in front of the body.
Front.
Which we can do with barbell to a degree by bringing our elbows in, and that's something I've seen you and Charles do that, because typically with bar curl exercises and also dumbbells, the arms are at the side of the body, so that's the long head being worked. If you bring the elbows down, even for like one set, just to add that extra kind of dynamic into the exercise, elbows round into the front. It's a little bit awkward. Maybe use an easy bar to make it easier on the wrist. That's then the short head. So by doing that with the preacher curl, actually we did it the other way around. Scott curls, after the great Larry Scott from your neck of the woods.
Larry Scott from Idaho.
Huge arms, big biceps, and that was because he was like known for doing them on the preacher curl, on the kind of the drop-off part.
Right.
Full range of motion there, easy bar, and we switched it up with some wide, and it's all about the elbows in and the wrists out, really hitting that kind of inner peak. And then we brought the elbows out. It's great for using an easy bar, a little bit more, not that much stress on the wrists compared to using a straight bar.
Definitely.
So we're varying that up.
It allows you to pronate even a little bit more and when I say pronate, we're trying to keep our pinkies turned outward. You're getting you could screw in a light bulb and get a bicep workout, and that's what we're talking about when we're pronating, when we're supinating the wrist all the way there. Supinate to the point where on that easy bar, it allows you to turn it out more. Straight bar, it's more of a fixed position. But we even threw some dumbbell work in for the last and final set on that, and I'll tell you what.
That was a killer. And the hardest thing I think with that is we want to push the weights together to make it easier. We push them in, and it forces tension against each other, and it takes some of it off the bicep. By keeping that distance between them, I mean, we were keeping the same weight, 35-pound dumbbells. I think I hit 8 reps and just hit a wall. It was like, that's when you know you've given it your all.
That one.
A few tips on that one. We were keeping what I like to call the loop within the reps. We were constant movement. We weren't bringing the weights up and pausing, resting up at the top. Bringing them up, squeezing, flexing the bicep, but without kind of bringing that vertical line into play.
Going more on that delt, anterior delt, resting it there.
Right. Full range of motion, but we weren't completely lengthening and resting the bicep. We were lengthening the arms, keeping tension there. So I guess we weren't straightening out and extending out the elbow. That's something important, even with triceps, which we saw within part one. is whether we were doing overhead extension or push down, we were flexing the tricep, but we weren't locking out at the elbow and kind of removing tension from that muscle. I think that's something that you can easily fall into. So think about arm extension and think about the tension in the muscle, what you're working.
And that bottom third movement on the Scott curls or the preacher curls, really going to work on that bicep length. So we always talk about bicep peak. That bicep length that comes in now. Now, obviously, we got insertions that always are going to play a part. That's our genetics. That's the hand, the cards that we were dealt. But doing something, we can fill in a little bit on that bottom third. Something like a preacher curl is going to help out with that.
Yeah, a real nice second exercise. And moving on to the third one, cable again. We change it around, a little bit more focus on the forearm
there
and the outer portion of the bicep again. Cable and some reverse cable curls, or I guess you could do a preacher, easy bar, so many different variations with this.
So many different, and you know, anytime that you're neutral or that pronated, a little bit more of that brachialis, you're actually shutting off a lot of the short head movement. You're not working a whole lot there. You're working that outer portion. So again, we use cables here because I always like to stress, you know, we're using free weights, we use the Smith machine, now we're using cables. We're hitting it from all different varieties, all different angles, all different types of machines. I love doing the cables because of that constant tension on the biceps, at least for one exercise in there. So switching it around, really for me, it's a weak area that I always like to try to hit at least one exercise for that bicep brachialis, and it hits that forearm as well.
Yeah, definitely. And it brings forearms into play in part of an arm workout, whereas typically, for most people, I guess, they're left lagging towards the end of the workout, or they just skip.
Right.
Have a great arm workout. What next? Forearms. Let's do it next week.
Definitely.
And we go. So by including forearms within that arm workout, there's no getting around it or skipping it. Same thing with the cable pushdowns. We kept the weight pretty much at the same and just kept that intensity high by kind of back and forth. 15 reps, kept the repetitions a little bit higher, and we changed a little bit on the width of the grip as well.
Little changes in there. Keep
Makes
things
a
fresh
difference.
too in the workout. Keeps your mind focused on what you're doing. So
I liked it on the cables. That was a nice change. And then we came back to cables with another superset exercise, finished off in the single arm high cable curl. Great one for the short head and the bicep. I know people like to do this with both arms.
Yep.
I prefer single just because I can give it more focus and attention with two arms. I see people, especially, and I'm guilty of this too, I tend to rock into it a little bit more. It's more about getting the reps done rather than feeling the muscle.
Right.
And by doing it with single arm, a lot of gyms I've found, I mean, we're very fortunate here with Gold Gym, but a lot of gyms with their cable crossovers, you don't have the length.
Right.
So if you have the short cable thing and they're here, you can't get a full length in the bicep, or you've got to stand so far forward that it's then putting unnecessary stress onto the delts. So if that's the case, do single arm. Take a step back, allow for a full range of motion. We're both kind of stabilizing our foot and our hips out so that we were counterbalancing it, and just getting that squeeze, and again, keeping that constant motion within that rep.
One I love finishing off, some people call them Supermans. Again, short head of the biceps. Then we went straight into, we supersetted with a rope curl. And with two different variations on the rope curl, we did almost a rowing type motion. We didn't use any back in it, but we're using more again of that outer head, really to stress that, and then switched it up, did 10 reps immediately, bringing it out a little bit wider. So here, and then out to the sides, just annihilated the biceps and really finished it off. Biceps pumped to the max.
Yeah, especially after a tricep workout like that.
Yeah.
And you mentioned triceps and biceps, you typically train as one workout. Hit triceps first, then biceps. Is that the same for other body parts like chest and back or quads and hams? Do you kind of balance them like that, or do you tend to split the bigger ones up into their own workouts?
I tend to split the bigger ones up into their own workouts. Not always, you know, especially if I've done everything from push-pull. I've done supersets for back and chest. I've always just ended up. I love coming back to, you know, the good old bodybuilding days where you're doing straight sets, really trying to get bigger, stronger, and then you throw in some supersets in there, but really training chest one day. And you know, even at times I've tried training chest in the morning, back at night. But for me, it's just always about constantly evolving with my workouts as well. So one thing I am doing right now is I'm actually trying to do some detail work for triceps on my chest day and some detail work for my biceps on my back day. Not really necessarily trying to grow them, but trying to get a little bit more detail in something like the brachialis or in my lateral head of my triceps. Just because at the end of the day, that's my weak point, is detail work. Not necessarily size anymore, it's that detail.
That reminds me of Arnold. You know where I'm going with this.
Yep.
And he had a pair of dumbbells under his bed. every morning he'd focus on his rear delts and do like
Yep.
50 rear delt flies. Again, not necessarily for to enhance their size or grow them, because every day with that much volume in the reps, it's unlikely. But he was constantly working with them, and he made them one of his strengths.
And you are what you think about, and I always say that. And at the end of the day, if that's what your mind, you can almost will your muscles to grow. I think by just thinking about it. And that's the case with anything in life. You know, you're going to be what you think about at the end of the day. So. This is a great arm workout.
Yeah, it really was. We need to do more of these. So if you like this video, and let's be honest, I mean, why shouldn't you? We hit everything in. We got the exercises. People have been wanting to see it for years. I think hopefully we've done it justice. There's plenty more body parts, exercises,
philosophies on life.
Exactly to talk about. So comment, like, subscribe. We're on every kind of social media possible. He's even on TV. And yeah, we've got to do this again. But before we go, because it's getting dark here, we've been here for nearly 3 hours. This is just so people know. When they say, can you film a video? The video itself takes anywhere from 2 to 3 hours. And we're still, I mean, we are really working out. And then the whole post-production thing can easily take a day. So
Easy.
we will give this as much time as we can, because I think it's something that we need to do to bring together so much knowledge and experience, and to put it all in one place. But I want to finish off on really asking one simple question. A lot of people look up, follow, admire, let's just say, what we do. And they're always coming up, and I get this, as I'm sure you do, in gyms, outside, grocery stores, airports. What has been the most challenging and interesting question that someone's asked you that really made you think, like, I don't have a straight answer for that?
I think at the end of the day, it was, you know, what keeps you motivated.
Right.
You know, they always ask, you know, like, Steve, I'm struggling with my motivation in the gym. You know, what is it that keeps you motivated? And I'll be honest, just like anyone else, motivation, it comes and goes, but really it's taking that. You have extrinsic and intrinsic motivations. So motivation that comes from outside. You want nice things. You want, you have somebody to take care of. What's going to be more lasting is that internal motivation. That at the end of the day, that person that you're staring back at in the mirror wants to be the best them that they can be. What are you doing when nobody's looking? That's that internal motivation that really you can't get from anywhere but inside. And I think that at the end of the day, you either have it or you don't. And there's things that you can do, short-term goals that I think, and don't get me wrong, extrinsic motivation, motivation that comes from the outside is always beneficial as well, but it doesn't last as long as what's on the inside. So for me, it's reminding myself and recommitting myself to why I do these things. And that comes from a moral standpoint. It comes from, the dreams I've had as a kid. And at the end of the day, I think I have to, like anything else, remind myself, write things down constantly about why I'm doing them, and really recommit myself to it.
That was deep. That was deep. If any fans come up and ask, I mean, it's a very detailed, thorough question, and that got me. All right, end of part 2. I think we've given enough time to this.
You'll see more of us.
More videos coming, certainly nutrition and back in the gym. So, what a workout. Thanks for watching. Please do keep supporting, because you're allowing us to make these videos and have fun doing what we're doing. So I'm sure I'll see you around the gym, and we'll get another video out shortly. So enjoy what you do.
Out from Gold's Gym.
All right, guys, take care.